is the violence that we've been seeing over the past couple of days, right? Yesterday, the protest was relatively peaceful until it wasn't. What are you going to do about ensuring that your protest is as powerful and impactful as possible, but at the same time, no violence? And that excludes the demand you've made about the bouncers and the police. As students yourselves, how you're going to regulate the rest of the other students to ensure that we're not seeing the same scenes that we saw on Friday.
Sure. Vuvuzela?
I want to understand whether the ceasefire has anything to do with the statement made by the Wits spokesperson, Chilona Patel, who said that protesting will not yield any result and rather you should go for dialogue. Does it have anything to do with that?
Sure. Apart from any other institutions, have you been receiving more international support? We saw the University of Zimbabwe saying they're in solidarity with you guys. Are there more institutions maybe from the SADC region, maybe University of Namibia and Mozambique as well?
Are those all the hands for this round? No. Okay, sure.
All right. To first address the question from Rurusang in terms of elaborating on the sexual assault. As you may have seen, we have also taken some footage as well because we do also wish to keep it on record as to what's happening. You would have seen that students who have been protesting, they have been mishandled by the bouncers, right? But beyond that as well, you should also remember that these bouncers are people who are here 24 hours on our campus. And we always stated that these people are undocumented because we always say that we have our campus protection services. We have our campus control that is meant to do the job. Why are they here 24 hours? We cannot account for that because they are unauthorized and they are undocumented within our campuses. So the sexual assault cases are yet to also be unpacked, right? And I think as and when the time comes, we will unpack these. But on our campuses, we can say that the sexual assault has been a serious thing that has been happening ever since these people have been on our campuses, right? Then coming to Zintombi with regards to the violence, I believe Arusama might have missed.
Yes, my second question is what would happen after the 24 hours?
So we did mention that going into the negotiation, these are our 3 demands. But once we get to the table, first they have to meet these first 3 demands that we have proposed. Once it has been met, then we can then move on to going to the negotiation table. And once we're at the negotiation table, then we revisit our initial demands that we had stated. So those are the demands that we wish to go out of the meeting with. Remember we said that there's a 24-hour period, which we also do wish to state that the 24-hour period will only be in effect once these demands have been met. So at the current moment, this ceasefire is not in effect until these demands are met. Once the demands are met, we no longer see the bouncers on campus, the police are no longer around, and also the suspension has been addressed, then we ceasefire. So going then into the meeting, we then table our demands that we had initially tabled. We basically revisiting and opening up the dialogue once again. And that is what we do hope that we're going to walk out of the meeting with. Okay. Then going to Nozintombi in terms of the violence that we had seen. I mean, we can note that the majority of the time we have had peaceful protests, right? We have had peaceful protests in such a way that students at one point, they sat at the intersection between Empire Road and Jan Smuts, peacefully so, right? And that is the kind of tone that we still continue to set, that we will always remain as peaceful as possible. However, where there is a level of violence, especially on our campuses, the level of violence comes at a point whereby students simply do wish to access certain facilities but are met with the arrogance of bouncers. Hence, then there's an altercation between bouncers and the university students. For instance, yesterday we had simply said that we are going to have a peaceful protest at the Wits bus depot. But then we were met with bouncers that had said that they are simply going to remove those students. And we do have it on footage as well, whereby students were being dragged out of that Wits bus depot for just simply sitting down and having a peaceful protest. So we continue to have that position that the peaceful protests remain, but it does not mean that we should be met with arrogance, because it does agitate students as well. Wits Buzela, does the ceasefire have anything to do with Sharona's statement? It does not have anything to do, because this is a stance that we are taking as student leaders. We are not intimidated, we are not pressured into any position, but we are simply saying that we are, for the last time, probably revisiting this conversation. And I do wish to state that it is for the last time that we are revisiting this conversation. And the last question that was then tabled was then, in terms of the institutions in solidarity within the so we do have your universities like your UJA, your TUT within the Gauteng province as well that have pledged their support. And we do hope that many universities can at least also, take it upon themselves to address whatever injustices that they are faced with, and also the support that they continue to offer to us. We thank you for that, and it does not go unnoticed. So described as violent humans does not help the situation, and it takes away the real reason why we are here. So I think moving forward, we would like the media to also be able to push this conversation going forward as we rally all universities towards challenging this system that keeps on excluding us from getting education.
Okay. So we'll be closing the session. Oh, okay. Does anyone else want to be noted before we close it? It's just you. Please speak.
Firstly, I'd like to, my name is Lukuna, and firstly, I'd like to apologize for raising this issue while we had closed the line. So my issue is, at the beginning of the protest, you did mention that we are doing this also for those students who are staying at red races. Personally, I stay at red race, whereby I'm paying 77,000, right? And NSPA's capped the catered residences amount to 60,000, right? If I'm correct. So now I come from a background where I'm very poor, and I'm supposed to top up that amount by 17,000, which means next year, because I'm gonna be owing more than 10,000, I'm not gonna be able to register. How is that going? How is that going to work?
So, firstly, you will have noticed that that we've always raised it primarily with NSFAS, right? And that has always been the call that as Wits University, the stance that we want them to take is to absorb the shortfall of NSFAS in that regard. Right. So that is a conversation that we still take as the SRC, that the university must absorb that shortfall. And from the response from the university, then it was stated that a team between the university and the SRC will be established as a joint committee to ensure that we address this. So this is not a matter that is we are going to just rest on and simply say that we closed it, but it is an ongoing engagement, because we want to note that NSFAS cannot take a blanket approach in terms of where or how they cap certain things, right? However, the university as well shouldn't also be ignorant, because the university on a yearly basis, they continue to increase their residence fees, right? And we always try to get them to justify as to how do you increase academic fees by 5%, how then do you go to residence fees by 7%? What is the logic, whereas NSFAS keeps on decreasing, right? So both parties and both stakeholders are equally responsible and liable for this crisis that we are faced with, and it is a conversation that will go beyond these protests as well. Thank you.
So just to add also on that, it doesn't really make sense why accommodation is 80,000 rand. But when you look at the condition and you look at the room, it doesn't match the pricing. So I think we should equally blame the university on the issue of pricing. Because when I calculate junction fees or any res that is Wits accredited, I can actually rent an apartment in Sentin, a nice bachelor studio apartment. We are paying too much. Accommodation is more than the tuition itself in most of the time at Wits. So I think the university must find a way to stop increasing these prices, because we really cannot account where the money is redirected to if we're going to speak about that fee they are charging us. We can even go there and take a tour with media houses, and then perhaps we can find a way to make the university account for that room. The university must stop increasing the prices for rest, because the pricing doesn't match the standard of the room, number one. We understand the NSFAS capping, but also the university is at fault in this issue. And they must be able to take accountability. That is why we are pushing for it, because it's also a problem that they keep on creating themselves.
Thank you. So we'll be closing the session. I know earlier on I stated that the president will be outside waiting for you guys to interview him, but I just got intel that we still cannot find him. So yeah, I think this is it. We'll send an update and release a statement in regards to what we have discussed with the Vice Chancellor, and if he has agreed to meet us or not. And if he doesn't agree, then the ground will call and Senate Kuba and
So it's MIA, prison.
you just spoke to him. Oh no, he's not MIA. He's not MIA. Yeah, he's just out of campus. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and to all our viewers. My name is Phamotse, the Secretary General of the Wits SRC. I'd like to thank all the media houses for joining us. I know with us today we have SABC, ENCA, Jacaranda, Vuvuzela, Times Live, Vow FM, Guardian Report, and Wits TV. Over here, I'm joined by my SRC members, the SRC Compliance Officer, Karabo Matlocha, and our Deputy President, Kamogelo Mabe. So the President could not make it due to him being suspended, so he's therefore not allowed on campus. So if you'd like an interview with him, I think at the end of this briefing, he'll be outside, just outside the gates by Yale Road, and he'll be available for an interview. So we had a briefing on Saturday, so now we just want to give an update based on the events that occurred since then. So I'll hand it over to our second in command, the Deputy President.
Thank you very much, SG of the Wits SRC, and I'd also like to extend gratitude for making it to this press media briefing. Thank you for honoring the invite. As you may know, that the SRC finds itself in quite difficult times right now, as we are not with our main person in command, our chief in command, the Wits SRC president, and we do also wish to state that we do not currently know about his whereabouts that much, because you may know that with his suspension, it does state that he should not be within the university precincts, including that he shouldn't also be within his residence where he stays, which is a Wits residence. So at the current moment, we do note that he may be homeless alongside those students as well that have been suspended with him. So there has been quite a number of suspensions. Those students, the SRC remains worried about them, including the SRC members who are suspended, that we do not know of their whereabouts. because all of them would accompanied by their suspension letters is the fact that they cannot be within the Wits residences. So the SRC continues to take a firm stance to say that we are with our SRC president wherever he is, and do wish that his return is as it comes sooner than we may anticipate, because for us to be able to proceed, we do wish that we can proceed with our SRC president, because when this started, we started with our SRC president, and we do have the high hopes that we will finish it with our SRC president in command. So, ladies and gentlemen, media and the viewers at home, today we are here because we are here to give an update on what has happened after the senior executive meeting that we did meet with the deputy vice chancellors of the university and the dean of students on Saturday, whereby we had tabled our demands, and thus you would have seen that from time to time the university had been updating the student populace on the outcomes of every meeting we had had with them and our demands. And particular what we had tabled on Saturday, they did respond to it. However, the SRC did take a stance after the response that we received from management that it was not sufficient, considering that there are real issues on campus. The issues as student leaders, we are immediate to them, because there are students who are sleeping in our offices. Even right now, as we are proceeding with these protests, the students are sleeping within this very same boardroom that we are gathered in today. The students are sleeping in libraries. However, we had seen most recently that some labs and libraries had been closed down, which means that we do take it as a point of reference that those students are actually being said that they must be homeless. And furthermore, we did as well continue with our protest on Monday and Tuesday. And then the main thing that was brought forth to us was that in order for us to be able to meet with the Vice Chancellor, the university then also proposed and tabled that the SRC should rather than cease fire so that we can be able to go to the table with them. So the SRC is in a position of now making the call whether to cease fire on campus or not, and hence we are gathered here because we do wish to state on public record that the Wits SRC is considering ceasing fire, however, is going to furthermore table some demands as well to the university that will accompany us ceasing fire on campus. However, with the conditions that we are going to propose, we do wish to note that our ceasing fire is also time-based. It does not mean that when we cease fire at this point, we are done with the protest. So in order for us to get into an engagement, we are ceasing fire for a certain amount of time, and also we can only cease fire upon them meeting our demands. So at the current moment, we are going to table that we will cease fire only for a period of 24 hours. And with us ceasing fire for a period of 24 hours, we are tabling the following demands. First and foremost, the police presence in and around the university precinct. This comes as we have noted that with the suspended students and every student that has been at the protest, we do feel that there's a level of unsafety for them, because with this police presence, we cannot reason as to why is the police in and around the university precinct. Because one, on campus, we do know that there's the campus protection services that is legally the one that is meant to safeguard our campus. So we do not understand the presence of the police on our campuses. However, around the university precinct as well, we do feel that there is a level of intimidation and threat that we have been speaking about, because how can student leaders then feel safe around their own student hub within the Braamfontein area? That we from time to time we do see the public order policing around the university precinct, which may serve as a level of intimidation for student leaders not to feel safe as well within this Braamfontein area. And we must also note that with this public order policing, it has been quite alarming and disturbing that police respond so quickly to student leaders who are always just having peaceful demonstrations, whereby on Sunday we would have seen that police came as far as those within the West Rand areas and the East Rand areas to come and only stop a group of 20 students who are just simply sending out a statement that they are homeless. It is quite alarming that there were more than 20 police vans that were wishing to stop just a small group of students that are peacefully demonstrating. So therefore, the first demand that we are proposing is that the police in and around the university precinct must be withdrawn with immediate effect. Second to that, the bouncers that we see on campus that are highly paid, we also call on for the immediate withdrawal from our campuses. This only does not come from a leadership perspective, but also from a student's perspective, that students have continuously expressed that these bouncers are also serving also as an intimidation to them on their own, because the bouncers, it is not clear whether they are stopping student leaders or they are also stopping students, because there has been staff members and students who have tried to access certain facilities on campus but have not been allowed to, because these people are simply given a clear instructive and a directive that do not allow these people in certain areas. So this university has basically said that these bouncers are basically going to serve as the immediate point of stopping all access points for our students and our staff members. So we are saying that they must be withdrawn with immediate effect. And also we can also state that these bouncers on our campus, there has been also an alarming point of view from students as well, whereby we have been faced with some cases where students come forward with sexual harassment and sexual assault allegations against them on our campuses. So if we are to continue any discussions, we say that these bouncers must be removed off our campus with immediate effect. Then we come to calling on for the immediate stop of the processing of any further suspensions. We have seen that a lot of students and student leaders and students in general who have been our empathizers and sympathizers of what we are trying to do, they have been suspended. So if the university is genuine about calling us to the table, there should be no further suspensions. But we must also state that with the further suspensions that we are calling on to be stopped, and when we say stop, doesn't mean that it should be opened at a later point in time, should after our 24-hour period of ceasing fire. We do not call that it should be reprocessed. We are saying that anything that is happening at the current moment should be stopped. So, coupled with that as well, we do also note that there are SRC members that have been suspended. We are also not forgetting that we are also calling upon the lifting of their suspensions, because there are student representatives, there are people that have been with us through this registration period, and we do also wish to take them as well through to the end of this, should there be any outcomes that will be beneficial towards the student populace. So that is our main cause for the cease period of the 24 hours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DP. And as we continue with our ceasefire program for the day, we hope that the Vice Chancellor will actually come down and meet us, as we have tried several times to meet up with him. We even had mediators from government, NSFAS officials, and DH officials. So we hope that as we cease fire today, he will also come down and meet us, and we can try to find a way forward and establish a working ground. So I'd like to give platform to the people that we have here from media houses, to students who may have any questions or comments for us.
My question is